5 races remain in the 2025 regular season as the MBCS travels to the capital of the first state for 400 miles around the Monster Mile. Hi, hello, and good afternoon, race fans. It's a muggy day in Dover, Delaware, as we're here for today's coverage of the 22nd race of the 2025 NR2003 Mission Barbecue Cup Series season, the M&Ms 400, presented by the 412. Welcome everybody to today's Intercast on the North American Sim Racing Network. My name is Trey Wright, and it's fitting that the home stretch of the regular season begins at Dover Downs, but these horses are about to rip around the concrete canyon of the Monster Mile. Dover has produced a ton of great racing over the years, and we're set to add to that list today with another fantastic contest. We're back on the air after a 2-week break after a week-long stretch of races in Massachusetts for the Duncan Week of Speed, and the winner of the in-season tournament, Campbell Marsh, leads the point standings going into the 22nd race of the season. 2 rookies are atop the point standings with Esteban Lasser 52 points back to Marsh, and Caleb Rose had a heck of a week in the MBCS 2 weeks ago with a win at the Papyrus Motorsports Park and consistency that has shot the 32 machine all the way up to 3rd in the point standings. Riley Sampson had a similar week in the 24 car, and he's up to 4th in the point standings. Owen Miles rounds out the top 5. Alex Lozano, Logan Williams, Corey Case, Braden Perez, and Angel Gutierrez round out the top 10. For Perez, he fell significantly all the way down to 9th in the standings after a rough final 2 races of the Duncan Week of Speed, and is only 9 points above the cut line coming into Dover with 5 races left in the regular season. But the cut line below him is even closer than that, with Gutierrez tied with Carson Miller for the final chase spot at 22.91 points apiece coming into the final 5 race stretch. Angel Gutierrez does hold the 3rd tiebreaker in that tie with the best average finish over Carson Miller, and Matthew Hubert is only 1 point behind the duo coming into Dover this afternoon. Suffice it to say, those 3 drivers are going to be 3 of the most viewed drivers here over this 5 race stretch, and we're going to have to see which of those 3, or potentially all or none of those 3, make the chase here in 5 weeks' time. And looking at the wildcard standings, Carson Miller does currently hold the 2nd wildcard spot underneath of Bradley Ream, who continues to hold the 1st spot. But with John Andrews getting the win at Coca-Cola 2 weeks ago, the space between Miller and Ream has 5 drivers that have 1 win already in 2025, and this will absolutely be one of the most riveting storylines that'll develop over these next 5 weeks until the checkered flag falls at Armory Digital. Peeking at the other point standings as well, Pacific Racing holds the owner's point lead by a wide margin over Chevy Power Racing, despite CPR having 3 more wins than Pacific. Macklin Hamill Enterprises rounds out the podium, while Stealth Motorsports and Appleseed Racing complete the top 5. And taking a look at the Rookie of the Year standings, it's no surprise to see Esteban Lasser atop of those standings. Campbell Marsh hot on his heels though, along with Carson Miller. Those 3 have been the class of the rookie class so far in 2025. They don't call Dover the Monster Mile for no reason. This track has had a history of being tough on these cars. We've seen big wrecks and thrilling moments before here at Dover. It's similar to Hillside in terms of layout, a high-banked mile made of concrete instead of asphalt, which makes for more loose cars on the slicker surface. It takes a lot of experience to be able to master Dover, and we typically see veterans go to Gatorade Victory Lane here at the Monster Mile. But with that being said, it's time to begin the final 5 race slate of the regular season. Let's get on trackside and get the most famous words in motorsport to kick off the M&Ms 400 presented by the 412.
Drivers, start your engines!
42 cars rumble to life on the pit lane at the Monster Mile. We're ready to go racing for 400 miles here in Dover. Howell, New Jersey's Matt Wolf sits on the pole position in the number 38 SRI Performance Dodge Charger. A pair of Dodges start on the front row with Daniel Bouchard starting on the outside of the 38 in that number 07 Dodge. Your Homestead winner looking for his 2nd win of 2025. Same thing for Caleb Rose in the Tide Ride. He starts the outside of Elijah Gordon, who is piloting the car that won this race last year. With Derek Hamill at the wheel in the 47, he starts in 3rd. And back in row number 3, Skylar Taylor, another top 10 start for the 45 car. She starts to the inside of Matthew Hubert, who is looking to point inside the top 10 here in the 23 machine. There's a look at a couple of drivers towards the tail end of the field. Some notable faces are Esteban Lasser, Angel Gutierrez, Toby Murphy, winner of the Boston race. a couple of weeks ago. Carson Miller is also back in here. Same thing with Braden Perez, who won this race back in 2021. And Campbell Marsh also starts relatively deep in the field, all the way back in the 26th spot there for the driver of the 31. Pace Truck has gotten the 1 to go signal as we take a look at the Monster Mile, the Dover International Speedway. A packed crowd here on hand to watch today's 80-lap contest at the Monster Mile. A little bit of a dual-use facility here in Dover. You saw the harness racing track in the infield for the Bally's Dover Downs. It's going to be an 80-lap race, like we said, here at the Dover International Speedway. We're only going to see one pit stop so far this afternoon. These drivers are going to come in around laps 48 to 50. The stages will conclude after laps 20 and 45. 24 degrees of banking in the corners, 12 degrees on the straightaways for a self-cleaning racetrack here in Dover. 4 previous winners of the M&Ms 400. 2 of them are on the grid here this afternoon. Braden Perez starts 36, Mitchell Collins starts in 12th. Derek Hamill and Colton Yo are the other 2 winners of this contest. Pace Truck will trot onto the pit lane, and as Matt Wolf will lead the field towards the race's restart zone. It's 5, count 'em, 5 races remaining in the chase. We're green flag racing here at the Monster Mile. And Matt Wolf will come around to lead lap number 1 of today's contest. And Elijah Gordon trying to pick up right where that 47 car left off just a little over a year and a couple of months ago. Single file for the first couple of groups up in here. But it's Wolf who continues to lead in that 38 car. He will come around to lead lap number 2, starting from that dominant first starting spot. And here comes Gordon trying to trek up right to the back end of that 38 car. Skylar Taylor also closing in on this battle as well, and pretty much everybody up inside the top 20 is single file. A couple battles here and there for position back in here. Roble Dorn will go all the way to the back there in that WeatherTech number 27 car, the lowest running car, and rookie here on the racetrack. Skylar Taylor lost a lot of ground going through the corner in turn 2. And she is going to fall way outside of that dominant line, all the way towards the top there in that 45 car. Before the race lead, 2 cars breaking away. That's Elijah Gordon and Matt Wolf. Starting to break away a little bit there from Bruno Diacomo. Diacomo half a second away behind that number 38 car. Michael Lewis right now with a good top 5 run for the runner-up driver, the Duncan Week of Speed. We saw Campbell March deep in the field as well there. In that number 31, while the Duncan Week of Speed, your points leader towards the tail end of the field. 3 wide back in here, Zachary Fitzwater moving underneath of the 86 of Ryan Durrani, along with Corey Case in car number 63. There is Esteban Lacer, who has been the biggest mover in this race so far. He started this race in 40th, and amazingly, he has moved his way all the way up to 21st on the grid here so far in this running. An impressive run so far for Esteban Lacer in this race, and for the race lead, Matt Wolf. Trying to catch up to the back end of that 47, rather the 47 trying to catch up to the back end of the 38. And looking for a lane off of the corner is Elijah Gordon. Trying to find one down to the inside, but Wolf will shut the door. Elijah just trying to find a way around. Go on board with Elijah Gordon right on the back end of that number 38 machine. Trying to look for a little bit of a ledge and Back end just barely slipping out there for the 38, but he's actually going to gain a lot of ground off of that little bobble. Elijah still just trying to find a way around that 38 car, who has led the opening 10 laps of today's contest. Now Elijah Gordon goes up the hill in turn number 1. That'll open the door for Bruno Giacomo to scoot on by. Same thing for John Andrews, who's looking for his first win. His second win of the season, his second win in a row. In fact, that would be his third win on the channel in a row. It'll be his second straight win in the Cup Series, and he won the GTLM race at Watkins Glen on the 4th of July 2 weeks ago, the day prior to that race at Coca-Cola. And look at how much that bobble cost Elijah Gordon. He is going to nearly fall outside of the top 10. He will fall down to 8th in that number 47 car, and that's a little bit of a tough break for Elijah Gordon, who was running in second. 8 laps away from the end of stage number 1. And Matt Wolff has led all, coming around to lead all 13 laps so far in this contest. Bruno Giacomo, 0.3 of a second off the last time by. He's reeled in Wolff by another 10th. Top 3 cars starting to pull away a little bit here. Let's see if Wolff is going to have another bobble like we saw with Elijah Gordon. Gordon now trying to make up some ground. He's right behind the 2 of Bradley Ream, who's had a good start to this race so far. Trying to stay up inside the top 10 in point, or the top 30 in points, to remain eligible for that wild card spot there on that 2 machine. Currently sitting down in 21st in the point standings, and now an issue for John Andrews in the 7 car. Andrews down the pit lane. Same thing, Skylar Taylor also has an issue, I think, but she remains on the racetrack. A flat tire there for the 7 of John Andrews will take him out of contention for this race win. We also saw on the monitor Skylar Taylor had an issue as well, but she's going to stay on the racetrack, and that is such a tough break for John Andrews there, who is running in second. And now he will surrender that spot to Bruno Giacomo, who is now right on the tail end of that 38 car. He is going to try to look for the race lead. John is going to go at least 2 laps down here in that 7 machine. That is such a tough break for that Barstool Camry, and that's going to put him behind the 8 ball early here. That moves pretty much everybody up a spot, including Juan Rodriguez, who is now up to 3rd. A second and a half away from this lead car battle. As Bruno Giacomo will now do the tango with Matt Wolff, the Aussie of Giacomo, taking on the Howell, New Jersey native of Matt Wolff. This is his home racetrack in real life. Where we go to here on the Mission Barbecue Cup Series circuit, of course, New Brunswick, or rather the New Jersey Motor Speedway would be Wolff's home track here in the NR2003 universe. Final lap in stage number 1. We're going to see if Giacomo has anything for Wolff. At the tail end of the stage here, down the back straightaway they go. In turns 3 and 4, Wolff will continue to shut the door on the 79, and at the start-finish line, stage number 1 will go to the 38 machine of Matt Wolff, who has led all 20 laps so far in today's contest. Dylan Matthews got the second stage point in car number 75. You'll see the results on your screen. And like we were talking about with Juan Rodriguez, he has had a season from hell, to put it lightly. He is deep all the way back, last in the point standings. 1,132 points behind Campbell Marsh coming into today, and he would love to just get a top 5 finish. No top 5, no wins, no top 5s, not even a top 10. His best finish this season has been 21st for the driver of that HTO number 48 machine. It has not been a good season for Juan. It was the regular season champion last year in 2024. And love to get a good top 10 finish. We'd love to get a top 5. Heck, we'd love to even get a win if these top 2 guys run into one another. Right now, Juan Rodriguez just looking for a little bit of success. Doesn't look like he is going to make the chase for another gear in that 48 car. So he's under fire from Michael Lewis, who, like we said, was a Duncan Week of Speed runner-up. Trying to find a way around that 48 car. Bradley Ream might have a little bit of a ledge underneath of the 90. He ran right on the tail end of that 90 car. Looks like he got him pretty arrow loose. He went up the racetrack, and Bradley Ream will say thank you very much for spot number 4. And Elijah Gordon was beginning to make up the ground that he lost, but he had another poor exit out of turn 2. And he will continue to go the wrong direction in the 47 car. Reggie Fogelman will go on by, as well as Fogelman's team owner of Eric Monaco. He's beginning to make his way through the field. Same thing with Esteban Lasser, who's climbed all the way up to 17th on the grid here this afternoon. He is the biggest mover in this race so far, and he certainly has one of the fastest cars on the racetrack. And Bruno Diacomo has gotten around Matt Wolff for the race lead. It's not a race on the NASRN without us missing a pass for the race lead. Diacomo got around Matt Wolff as we were watching these drivers back in here. And he has begun to open up about a 3-car length lead over Matt Wolff, going down the back straightaway. Already approaching the midway point through this race. It's been caution-free so far here in the M&Ms 400, and Matt Wolff starting to fall back a little bit there in that 79 car around the concrete canyon of Deauville International Speedway. Lost another 1/10 of a second there on Diacomo, and now up the racetrack goes Juan Rodriguez. He bobbled it going through the apex of 1 and 2. He will now give up 3rd to Bradley Ream, who will now set his gun sights on the rear bumper of that 38 machine. Rodriguez back to 4th, and now we're starting to see the tire wear come into play just a little bit here. 29 laps into the run. Again, these guys can do about 48 to 50 laps on fuel. On tires, it's about just a little bit less, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see these guys come down the pit lane within the next 15 or so laps. But Bruno Diacomo looking to get Otter Island Motorsports their 2nd win of the season, looking to get his 1st ever win here on the channel. Diacomo has got a 38/100ths of a second lead over the 38 cars. These two continue to dominate here at Dover. Bradley Ream closed in 15/100ths of a second that time around, but he's not yet in frame to the leaders. There's that Shell Pennzoil number 2 car coming off of turn number 2. But Diacomo continues to hold serve in that 79. Started this race back in 7th. We're already approaching the midway point through this race. It has been a quick moving race so far here at Dover. 33 laps into the contest. Take a look and see everybody back in here. Campo Marshall on the tail end of the lead lap right now. 2nd to last on the grid so far. John Andrews is the only car that is a couple of laps down in the 7. He is 2 laps down as he's right behind Keegan Thompson. Thompson trying to get around that 47 car. That is the battle for 13th. Back towards the tail end of the grid. Diacomo continuing to lay down laps, and he is gaining some distance on Matt Wolff, who's now falling into the clutches of Bradley Ream. Bruno Diacomo right now with the race's fastest lap. 21.556 seconds there for the driver of that 79, and he's looking to potentially get max points here this afternoon. 5 laps to go until the halfway point. It's been a caution-free affair so far, and everybody just trying to run their own race. So while we have a moment right before the midway point through the contest, we're gonna go downstairs and go through the field for a Twisted Tea race break and go through the field presented by Fram. Bruno Giacomo leads the way in the 79 car. Matt Wolf under fire from Bradley Ream. That's the battle for second. Juan Rodriguez is fourth. Fifth is Igor Barreto. Sixth is Reggie Fogelman. Seventh, Michael Lewis. Eighth is Angel Gutierrez. Ninth is Danny Fallington. And 10th is Skylar Taylor. 11th is Elijah Gordon. 12th is Keegan Thompson. 13th, Dylan Matthews. 14th is Esteban Lacer. 15th is Cole Sampson. 16th, Toby Murphy. 17th, Daniel Bouchard. 18th is Eric Monaco. 19th is Thomas Troxel. Rounding out the top 20, Alex Lozano. 21st is Nathan Stapleton. 22nd is Dano Georgi. 23rd is Zachary Fitzwater. 24th is Alex Vitale. 25th is Rogel Dorn. 26th is Owen Miles. 27th is Roberto Crown Jr. 28th is Riley Sampson. 29th is Alexander Rowe. 30th is Matthew Huber. 31st is Corey Case. 32nd is Carson Miller. 33rd, Logan Alexander. 34th, Braden Perez. 35th, Brennan Wilmington. 36th, Charlie Davenport. 37th, Mitchell Collins. 38th is Caleb Rose. 39th is Ryan Durrani. Top 40, caboosed by Campbell Marsh. 41st is Logan Williams. 42nd, and last is on the grid is John Andrews, who has got about 10 lap fresher tires than everybody else here at the Monster Mile, Dover International Speedway. And right on cue, Bruno Giacomo will come down the pit lane here, and he's going to cut this race right in half, it looks like. And he is a lonely, lonely man down. He's a lonely man down on the pit lane there. Apologies, had to have a little bit of a hack and cough. Bradley Ream is going to stay out an extra couple of laps there in the 2 car. Matt Wolf, Danny Fallington, a couple of other drivers will come down the pit lane as well. Leaves Bruno Giacomo already out, and here we go. Lap number 41 is going to be the magic number for a lot of these guys, and Bradley Ream will finally come down the pit lane, and John Andrews trying to get a couple of his laps back. But remember, Andrews is off strategy. He is going to have to pit again. We'll get around Bruno Giacomo, and actually, I don't know. I might like this strategy here from John Andrews, but again, everybody came down right at the midway point or just past the midway point. It's going to be interesting to see if these guys are going to be able to make it on fuel. I believe they should, and everybody was just pitting for tires. Dano Georgi was being scored as the race leader. He stays out for an extra couple of laps, along with Owen Miles. I believe Andrews will get a couple of laps logged lead here. Everybody coming down the pit lane. And Bruno Giacomo will be hot on his heels. We'll see what timing and scoring will say next time by. But Giacomo has gotten around Bradley Ream. We'll see if Giacomo is able to get around Charlie Davenport, it looks like, who might leapfrog up to second in the 98 car. I believe Charlie might, in fact, be a lap down. We'll have to see what the survey will indeed say once timing and scoring will reset. Everybody will come back onto the pit lane here. 3 wide off for the corner. That got a little close for comfort there. Right now it's still showing Dano Georgi as the race leader, with 39 cars on the lead lap as of right now. And now I believe everything has indeed cycled out. Bruno Giacomo right now will be the race leader once John Andrews comes down the pit lane. A couple of lap down cars between the 7 and the 79, but remember, Andrews had a flat tire. He will get a couple of laps led, but he is going to be surpassed by the 79 car going up through the middle. That's going to be close. But Bruno Giacomo will take the race lead back there in that Hers number 79. Our Island Motorsports machine back out front, but again, of everybody on the racetrack besides John Andrews, Diacomo does have the slowest time, the oldest tires, by about 1 lap of everybody else. And Bradley Ream has 2 lap fresher tires than Bruno Diacomo. We're going to have to see what kind of time Bradley Ream is able to make up in that 2 machine. Andrews way up the racetrack there in the 7. He continues to hemorrhage. Spots a little dicey off of turn 4 between Caleb Rose and the 38 is now Igor Barreto. Gets around the 7. Meanwhile, stage number 2 has concluded. You'll see those results on your screen of when they occurred. But this is going to be the battle we're going to have to watch on the track between Diacomo and Ream. And this is going to be very interesting. If Bradley Ream is able to get a 3rd win this season, that would really lock him up for the wild card standings if he's able to get the job done here. Bruno Diacomo, right now, he gave up a 1/10 of a second there to Bradley Ream, who's coming. He is coming hard. He is hard charging there in that Shell Pennzoil number 2 machine. He's got his team owner right in front of him. I think Eric Monaco has given him a little bit of an assistance there in terms of the draft. We'll see how much closer Bradley caught into Bruno this time around. Lost 1/100th of a second, so not a whole lot of changes here and there. But 30 laps to go in the M&Ms 400 presented by the 412. Not a whole lot of shakeups on the pit lane. John Andrews continues to fall back there in the 7. He will have to make another pit stop. If he doesn't get run over by Dylan Matthews, I think that John wanted to come down the pit lane that time by. Yeah, he is running on very, very old Hoosiers right now. He has got the oldest tires on the track, and he is just trying to survive at this point. We saw this at Hillside with a couple of guys, with just the closing rate and the difference in the tire wear, which is everything. Now, I think John, I think it was a little too high up the racetrack to come back down the pit lane that time by. It's tough here. This is a very tough pit lane to get down, especially if you've got faster lead lap cars bearing down on your back end. Meanwhile, that was a big swing in the pendulum right there. 0.3 of a second, Bradley Ream is knocked down on that 79 car, and Ream is a knockin'. These 2 drivers, 2 seconds ahead of Matt Wolf, so the gloves might be coming off between these top 2 guys. Ream closing in 0.3 of a second that last time by. You're starting to see the tire wear really come into play. That Shell Pennzoil number 2 machine, he is a hard charging. He's going to close in another 0.2 of a second, if not more, this time around. Another 0.2 knocked off there for Bradley Ream, and he is absolutely closing on the back end of that 79 as they go underneath the 412 bridge. How does Bruno try to survive and try to stave off this 2 machine who's got fresher tires? It's closed right on the back end of the 79. The deficit now down to car lengths. 0.2 of a second back is Bradley Ream as Angel Gutierrez, that last time by, ran his fastest lap of the race. It's the fastest lap of anybody here on the pit lane or the track right now. And now Ream, now right on the back end of that 79. He's going to be looking for a ledge. He might get one here. Up the racetrack goes Diacomo, and around the race leader will go Bradley Ream. John Andrews will pit right in front of the rest of the leaders. Bradley Ream now out front, and Bruno Diacomo will fall back into the clutches of Matt Wolf. The undercut strategy did not work for Diacomo. What a quick race this has been so far. Caution free here at Dover. I don't think we have had that here before. But now, 2 cars in between the 2 and the 79. What does Matt Wolf have left in the tank? I believe he came down on the same lap. No, he came down a lap before Bradley Ream. Ream has the fastest tire, the freshest tires of anybody in the top 5 right now. I think it's safe to say that Bradley Ream is in the catbird seat to win the M&Ms 400 with 20 laps to go here at Dover Downs. So look at Bradley Ream as he goes down the back straightaway here. He goes underneath of the Octane, the official fuel of NR2003 banner there over in turn 3. Around turn number 4, he will see the 19 laps to go sign from the flag stand. The gap continues to grow between Diacomo and Ream, and Matt Wolf lost a little bit there that last time around, but can he get around this 79 car for second? Ream continuing to pull away in that Shell Pennzoil number 2. The gap between Ream and Wolf up that time by a couple hundredths. And now this battle is going to be for second place back in here. We got 3 cars all underneath of a blanket. But Igor Barreto behind the Dodge of the 38 of Matt Wolf. 2 Dodges trying to overlap a Toyota here, while a Chevrolet leads the way, and he's got a Chevrolet blocking. Tell you what, Bradley Ream is experiencing Mitchell Collins syndrome from last season. Although his wins have been fairly spread out, got those 2 wins just about back-to-back. Those seemed like ages ago. Got the win, the Coca-Cola, or the PO Mission Barbecue, or the POW MIA 600 back at Charlotte. And also got the win at the trying to think of Diamond Ridge Super Speedway as well. And the gap continuing to widen between Ream and Diacomo as now Wolf has surrendered third to the 13 of Igor Barreto. But are these guys going to have to come down once again? I would believe not. If anybody is going to come down once again, my guess would be Bruno Diacomo would come down once more. Because Diacomo cut this race directly in half like a samurai. He's continuing to fall back a little bit. He has been able to hold on to second. That lead continues to grow for Bradley Ream, and it's going to grow a lot here. Another 15 hundredths of a second on the board in favor of Ream. And he is beginning to check out there that Shell Pennzoil number 2. Talk about strategy there for Bradley Ream. Started this race in 19th. He took advantage of the overcut. He's able to get out in front of all these guys, and the tire wear coming into play here at Dover Downs. And the gap just keeps on widening. Diacomo now under fire from Igor Barreto, and all these guys are hoping that something goes wrong with Bradley Ream's car. But he has been able to hold that 2-machine ramrod straight on the racetrack. Now Matt Wolf way up the racetrack. He missed the entry of turn 1. And he's going to pay for it dearly. He's going to fall back all the way to 5th there in the 38 car is John Andrews, who has the fastest rubber of anybody on the racetrack. He is currently 3 laps down, however. He's trying to get around all these leaders with 10 laps to go. Everybody is stacked up behind Bruno Diacomo. We'll see if Barreto is able to make his move down to the inside of Diacomo. This is going to get tight going through the corner. Again, the pace has dropped off considerably. Everybody but Bradley Ream has been driving very, very conservatively as John Andrews has caught up to the 2nd through 5th place drivers. Andrews is trying to find a way around you. He is a lap down car, but he does have fresh rubber. He is a very much faster car on the racetrack. He'll go to the inside of everybody going into turn 1. Up the hill goes Igor Barreto. Fallington looking for a little bit of a ledge around him, and that's going to help out Bruno Diacomo a ton. As Andrews will get around everybody. Diacomo just trying to power that 79 car back down to the inside. A big run coming for Igor Barreto. He's not able to capitalize on it. Again, these guys only have one lap. Well, one lap is the difference in freshness for these guys' tires. So it's not the biggest difference in the world, but Bradley Ream, he is just out of here in that number 2 machine. Brennan Wilmington has fallen off the pace in the 62. He has fallen back to 39th. I think Andrews is just trying to get at least one of his laps back. He's right behind that 4 machine of Eric Monaco. He'll dart down to the inside. 5 laps to go for Bradley Ream, who was pulling out a can of whoop bumper there in that number 2 car. See what John Andrews is able to do, get around that 2 machine. Strategy and tire wear was the name of the game. Bradley Ream decided to stay out an extra 2 laps, and it certainly paid dividends. With 4 laps to go, the battle continues to rage on, and everybody back in here stacked up behind Bruno Diacomo. We're going to have to keep tabs and see if Diacomo goes down the pit lane right as this is about to flip over onto lap 80. But 3 to go here from Dover. John Andrews continues to be right on the back end of that 2 machine. He'll poke down to the inside. Bradley Ream saying, "Thank you very much, I'll let you go. I'm not going to risk racing you Robbie Gordon style." Igor Barreto gets popped back in there. Meanwhile, sticks in the air. 2 laps to go from the Monster Mile. Angel Gutierrez now trying to get underneath of Michael Lewis for position. Going off of the penultimate corner. White flag is out one more time around the Monster Mile for Bradley Ream. Not John Andrews. There's Bradley Ream as he has taken the white flag lap. See the gap between, you can't even see Bruno Diacomo in your field of view that time around. Through turns 3 and 4, and off of turn 4 for the final time. The strategy paid off, and coming to the checkered flag, Bradley Ream gets his 3rd win of the season here at Dover. And the entire top 10 crossing over in line. All nose to tail from 1st to 10th as Bruno Diacomo was able to hold on to that second spot, finishing 4.5 seconds behind Bradley Ream's Chevrolet. Really good strategy call there from Bradley Ream's crew as he gets win number 3 of the season. That if he's able to stay inside the top 30, that will cement that number 2 machine as at least one of the 2 wildcard drivers here this season, with 4 races now to go in the regular season. But Bradley Ream gets the job done for his 3rd win of the season. Bruno Diacomo dominated the first half of this race, but it was Bradley Ream who will end up leading the most laps, I believe. Here in the M&Ms 400, Danny Fallington finishes 3rd. Igor Barreto was 4th. Matt Wolf completes the top 5. Angel Gutierrez, Reggie Fogelman, Michael Lewis, Elijah Gordon, and Toby Murphy round out the top 10. Not a great race for all these guys that are towards the top end of the point standings. Campbell Marsh in the 31. Trying to see where he ended up finishing there in the 31 machine. Where are you, Campbell? There. No, it's Carson Miller, but Carson Miller finishes in 30th. Campbell Marsh deep in the field in 38th. Esteban Lasser, after a good charge right at the start, finishes in 24th. And he will be the points leader. Going in the next race, Caleb Rose finished 1 lap down in 40th. Riley Sampson was also towards the tail end of the field there in 37th. Owen Miles So all the guys top 5 in points, finishes in 21st. So a little bit of a point shakeup here. Bradley Ream, with his 3rd win of the season, gets the job done here at the Monster Mile. And 4 races left, and these are 4 of the most interesting tracks that we go to on the Cup circuit. Indianapolis in 1 week, then we go to the Watkins Glen, then Michigan, and then Armory Digital for the final 4 races of the regular season, and then it'll be on for the final 10 weeks of competition here in the Mission Barbecue Cup Series. But that is going to do it here from the Dover International Speedway. Congratulations once again to Bradley Ream for winning the M&Ms 400 presented by the 412, his 3rd win of the season. We'll do it all again next Saturday afternoon, July 26th. Coverage for the Menards Brickyard 500 for the Indianapolis Motor Speedway begins at 1 p.m. Eastern, exclusively here on the NASRN. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, ladies and gentlemen. Here are your point standings after race 22 of the 2025 MBCS season, and from Dover, Delaware, on behalf of the North American Sim Racing Network, my name is Trey Wright. Have a great night, folks. We'll see you next week at the Brickyard.